Hello, welcome to part 2. Halloween Kills.
Okay, so Halloween Kills was released, dude. Because again, money, you know.
Yes.
They didn't do Halloween 2018 for the money, they did it for a shitload of money. Halloween Kills was released October 15th, 2021. It was supposed to come out in 2020, but
a little old thing called the global pandemic pushed it back a year.
yeah, something worse than Michael Myers happened that year. It cost $20 million, twice as much as the first one. I guess. Are we calling that one the first one? Twice as much as the 2018 one, sorry.
Yeah.
And made $133.4 million, so it did not make as much.
Oof. Yeah, that's just a little over half. Wow.
Granted, we were still recovering from COVID at that point, so.
That is, yeah. Was this one released alongside the streaming platform, or had they stopped doing that by then?
I have no idea. It was once again directed by David Gordon Green.
Yay.
And there was much rejoicing. Who also co-wrote it with Scott Teems and Danny McBride. Scott Teems also wrote the 2022 Exorcist. Sorry. The 2022 Firestarter movie.
Ah, okay.
And helped with the story of Exorcist Believer. So,
oh no,
there's some quality work right there. The music was done by John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter,
yeah,
and Daniel Davies. So the same people that did the music for the 2018 one came back. The cast, again, bunch of people from the 2018 one came back. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis, Will Patton, and
Judy Greer, Andy Matichak.
Again, we'll probably be here all day if we have to name them all. I also have a few other returning cast members from other stuff, because we have Anthony Michael Hall.
Yes.
Rusty Griswold himself. And also Brian Johnson from The Breakfast Club. But it's so funny, his character shares the same name as the AC/DC singer. But we had him on the podcast.
He's also in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, we had him in that, and he's also in The Caveman's Valentine.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. And we'll get to who he plays. Charles Cyphers, he played Lee Brackett in the first two Halloween movies. So they finally brought him back after 40 years. And he's also in Escape from New York. Nancy Stevens and Kyle Richards, they were also in the first Halloween movie. So they managed to bring back some people from the older movies, which is nice, you know. Initial thoughts. So
so, do you want to start with this one?
I think I'll start. Okay, so
yeah.
Unlike you, I had seen this one before. I think you hadn't seen it, right?
No,
you'd seen the. Okay, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I'd seen 2018 and I'd seen Halloween Ends. I had not seen Kills.
That's so weird that you decided, hey, I'll watch Ends without having seen this one. Okay. And I remember thinking this one was okay. It's definitely a schlockier movie than the first one. But I thought it had its moments. Watching it again, it is slightly worse than I remembered, but I kind of just feel the same way about it. Like, it's not a very good movie, but it's serviceable. It has parts of it that are so ridiculous that I was laughing at it. And there were some weird choices, but I thought it was better than the next movie, but we'll get to that. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it is a bunch of people getting killed by Michael Myers. But we'll get to we'll go more in detail as we go. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so like I had mentioned, this was my first time watching this movie.
Oh no.
I only had a little bit of an idea of what this movie was about. I knew that obviously Michael Myers was back. They had somehow survived the basement fire from the last film. And I knew that the general premise was basically a bunch of people from Haddonfield were searching for him. I didn't realize that what it meant was the entirety of Haddonfield was out looking for Michael Myers.
I know. I think I mentioned that at one point. That like it was yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that.
So I went into this just thinking it was going to be another Halloween sequel. That it was just going to be a bunch of Michael walking around, killing a few people, and then Laurie Strode being in the corner.
It kind of was, except there's also an angry mob.
What I ended up getting, I will say, it's kind of a bad movie, but I had so much fun watching this. It gets so insane at points. Some of the kills are absolutely nuts. The whole plot of Haddonfield coming together to try and kill Michael and failing was so funny to watch. It gets weirdly over dramatic at just the strangest moments. Like there's one scene in particular that I'm thinking of, but I'll get to that later. It's just the whole thing was so stupid, so over the top that I had so much fun watching it.
The problem is that there's so many scenes you could be talking about, so I'm not sure which one exactly, but we'll get to it.
But yeah, no, that my initial thoughts are that it's bad, but it is so funny.
It's the point where this trilogy kind of lost a lot of people.
I can see why.
God damn it, I can't stop laughing. The first one took itself...
I'm thinking back to some scenes and I'm already just laughing thinking about them.
Sorry, the 2018 one took itself pretty seriously. It had some weird, stupid humor here and there, but for the most part, it felt like the first two Halloween movies.
Yeah.
It never got, like, too over the top. But then this one, it ends just, for some reason, they feel... kind of like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, where they're just so over the top and weird, and you're just like, who made this and why?
If I'm being honest, this movie is probably the closest that we've gotten to what I was hoping and expecting from the Halloween sequels. Just over the top, schlocky nonsense.
That's kind of what you said about Halloween Ends, if I remember right. I remember.
Yes, which is why I haven't seen it since it was still in theaters, so I'm actually really excited to watch that one.
You saw it twice in theaters, though. Granted, one of those times is because you were drunk. We'll tell that. We'll probably tell that story when we do the podcast on that one. So, but yeah, this. You can say a lot of things about Halloween Kills. It's not boring. It's weird and stupid, but it's not boring, that's for sure. Okay. But apparently, I was reading about this. Apparently there's an extended cut of this.
Yes, that is actually the version that I watched.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't watch it.
Yeah. So I know that the ending was a bit different, which I think is the biggest difference between that and the theatrical cut.
I guess when we're going through it, you can like maybe talk about some of the
Hmm.
things that were changed because I watched the theatrical cut. How long? How long is the extended cut? By the way,
It's not that much longer. I want to say it's like an hour 50.
because the theatrical cut was an hour 45.
Oh wow, no, even shorter. The oh hold on, sorry.
Okay. IMDb says it's an hour 49.
Yeah, it's like not that much longer.
They don't really go into detail though. They're like saying, "Oh, like you can hear Michael's breathing."
Yeah, you can hear his breathing, and then like they change the ending a bit, and that's really the only big difference.
But yeah, so the story of this one, there's kind of not much of a story, but kind of a lot
It's
of a story. It's strange.
it's the best way to describe it.
Michael
Uh,
Myers, he breaks out of Laurie's basement, kills people, and then Haddonfield turns into an angry mob while Laurie is in the hospital. That's kind of
yeah, that's the whole movie.
that's as brief as I can keep it. Is that unless is there anything else you need to add to that or
No, not really. Oh, I guess you can add that at the towards the beginning, we have flashbacks to technically the end of the first movie, but also stuff that would have taken place like during the original second movie. So it's a weird. We get to see a weird alternate universe version of that.
what? Okay. Uh I'm actually glad you enjoyed that. I wasn't sure if you were gonna enjoy this one or not, but like I
Oh,
guess I'm not.
I honestly I lost it at a few points and had to rewind just to watch a few things again because
It's
it was
kind of
so
like what
insane.
happened when we did Rambo Last Blood. That was another one where I was like, I'm actually not sure how you're gonna feel
Yeah.
about this one, and then we both just laughed our asses off at it. Like, I feel like this kind of belongs in that category of like, where it's like, yeah, it's clearly not a great movie, but I mean, it's Michael Myers killing motherfuckers. So
Yeah.
Rambo Last Blood, it's just Rambo killing motherfuckers. I mean, yeah, well, do we call them pros and I guess, yeah, I do have a split of pros and cons. Okay. The beginning of this, it's interesting because we see a flashback to John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah.
They're really trying to make it look like the first movie. And some of it is, I think some of it was footage from the.
I think they reused a little bit of footage, but apparently there was one scene where they actually reused footage from Halloween 2. Like when one of the police officers finds the body of his daughter.
Yeah. And we're seeing some of the characters from the
Yeah.
first couple movies because we see well obviously we see Michael. How do you have a Halloween movie without Michael Myers? Oh wait a minute, Halloween 3 exists. um, oh, we also see Lonnie. Do you remember Lonnie?
Nope.
He's the kid that was gonna go into the house, but then
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Loomis
Oh
says,
yeah, Lonnie, get your ass out of there.
"Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there." God, I love that scene so much. But yeah, we see more of Lonnie apparently, huh? These people have clearly seen the other movies. Um,
And like we're off to like an immediate great start when it comes to the kills in this flashback because Michael takes a cop hostage. The other cop shoots at him, but misses and shoots his partner instead. And so Michael just calmly walks away as the cop misses every single shot that he takes. There's even one part where it looks like the bullet reflects off of Michael Myers, and I don't know what was up with that.
That would explain his imperviousness to pain, I guess, because it seems like just bullets don't do anything to him. He really is just like the fucking Terminator or something. It's weird. But yeah, so Lonnie gets bullied by some other kids. They're told about Michael Myers, and then Lonnie gets his ass away from there because, the music's good. That kind of goes without saying, though, but,
Yeah, no, all three of these, just John Carpenter's score is fantastic.
Yeah, I like that they brought John Carpenter back to do the music, because that's like, that's like one of the things about Halloween that people remember is the John Carpenter music,
And a couple of years ago on my Spotify, apparently John Carpenter was the artist that I listened to the most, because I kept listening to his Halloween scores on repeat.
Yeah. I do occasionally search up, some of his, Escape from New York, I like a score for that, or...
Oh, yeah.
Also, Assault on Precinct 13, that's got a good score, Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Anyway. And then, Halloween, obviously. I love the Halloween music. We do see Dr. Loomis again, but it was a different actor. I don't know who.
And whoever they have dub him over just didn't really sound like him.
It was strange. Who was the actor that was playing him? Wait.
Dr. Loomis is portrayed by the film's art director, Tom Jones Jr.
Tom Jones. Does he have any connection?
I am looking that up now.
Wait a minute, Bob Odenkirk was in this?
Is who?
Bob Odenkirk has a cameo appearance in a photograph. Okay, that's why. He doesn't actually... Anyway.
Oh, and he is voiced by Colin Mahan.
So, who played it? Tom Jones Jr.?
Yeah, Tom... Okay, I can see why. Hang on a second. Let me send you a photo of what this guy looks like.
Does he, look exactly like Donald Pleasance or something?
He doesn't look exactly, but it's, it's close enough. Give me a second.
Okay, I just looked up his IMDb. Yeah, he does kind of look like him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, and then he put him in the costume.
Yeah, and then with the makeup, it's that's scary. That's actually scary.
But I could tell it wasn't him, though, when I saw it,
Yeah, he was apparently in The Abyss.
So that's another recurring actor, apparently. Who does he play in The Abyss?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure that out. Construction foreman. Oh, so he was a background.
Okay, yeah, there's no way we would have recognized him. But yeah, the opening was interesting because it basically shows, Michael survived because he's Michael Myers.
Breaks out of the burning basement and kills all of the firemen. One of whom he cuts down the front of his face with the circular saw.
Okay, that was okay. Because in the first, why do I keep saying the first? In the 2018 movie, they tried burning Michael Myers to death, so the house is just on fire, and some firefighters show up. Then Michael Myers breaks out of the basement and just starts killing a bunch of firefighters, and it's so ridiculous because usually Michael Myers is just calmly just stalking people and killing them one at a time, but here it felt like a fight scene.
It really did, and it's not the last time there's a Michael Myers fight scene in this movie either, which is insane.
We'll get to that, but and one of them tries stopping him with a fire hose. I'm like, that was one of the first parts I just laughed at because I was like, this is actually ridiculous,
And just the shot of him in front of the burning house is so good. All the firefighters ready their axes to try and fight him. Like, for whatever reason, they see a guy come out of a burning house and go, yeah, we have to kill him.
I think this is officially the movie where Michael Myers started to feel like Jason, where he's just so... Do you know
Just
what I
so
mean?
insanely overpowered.
Because by
Yeah.
the time you get to like the later Friday the 13th movies, like Jason is like practically a superhuman at that point. Like he's just so ridiculously strong and powerful, and now I think Michael
Yeah.
Myers has reached that point as well.
Yeah, in Halloween Kills, he reaches Jason levels.
It's so absurd. One thing I did okay, so one thing I liked about this movie, though, getting back to, I like that they brought back characters from
Yes.
the movie. Like Anthony Michael Hall, his character is he's the grown-up Tommy Doyle, who was one of the kids from the first movie, the John Carpenter one.
Yeah.
They got attacked.
And who was also played by Paul Rudd in Curse of Michael Myers.
And they actually did try getting Paul Rudd back.
Oh, that would have been awesome if they would have gotten him.
They tried to get him back. He was busy, though. He was like working on Ghostbusters Afterlife, so we had to turn it down. But that would have been really funny.
That would have been.
But you know, I'm fine. I'm fine with Anthony Michael Hall being the one
Yeah.
that they brought back. You know, I like Anthony Michael Hall.
And I think it's kind of funny because there's basically, it looks like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, but it's for everyone who survived Michael Myers.
It is.
They just get together every year on Halloween and party.
Yeah, because there's this scene. They're in like a bar, I think.
Yeah,
Or something,
yeah.
and they're just like, they're like talking about how like 40 years ago, Michael Myers, you know. Anyway, so yeah, that was interesting. It's kind
But
of
it's a
their
weird
way of,
party too, because like at one point somebody gets up and starts doing like ventriloquism for some reason.
yeah, that was, where do I have that written down? Yeah. Oh my god, I remember that part. Yeah, there's this guy and his dummy, and they're singing the shaving cream song. I love that song. That song's so funny. Because anybody that doesn't know about that song, it's like you think the word that he's gonna rhyme it with is gonna be shit, but instead he says shaving cream. It's really funny. But if anybody had it, like Dr. Demento did a version of it, so it was apparently really controversial when it originally came out.
Of course. Was it released in like the 50s or
It was
something?
released in like the 40s originally.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
He's like, I have a sad story to tell you. It may hurt your feelings a bit. Last night I walked into my bathroom and I stepped in a big pile of shaving cream. Be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look clean. Anyway. But yeah, I was astounded that song was in this movie, and it's being sung by a ventriloquist. Like, what? What was that?
Yeah, it's just in the middle of like nothing. It's so weird.
Yeah, that kind of was during like a weird part of the movie where it seemed to be taking a break or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that is like my one sort of downside to this movie, is that there's this huge slump like right after Michael kills all the firemen.
I think we'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah.
They brought back Lee Brackett, who was in the first two movies. That was cool. There's a lot of blood in this movie. This movie really just...
It is violent.
There are... The kills in this are ridiculous. Because I mentioned in the previous one that a lot of Michael's kills in these David Gordon Green movies, it's just Michael smashing people's heads into walls and other stuff. And he does that a lot in this one.
He just kills whoever he wants in this one. He breaks into some old people's house and kills everybody inside. He kills children. He kills their parents after they find out their children have been killed. It's insane.
Yeah, there's like this gay couple living in his house, and he kills them. He's just out
Oh.
for blood in this one. It's
Can we-
ridiculous. Like,
Can we talk about them for a second and their names?
was that Big John and Little John?
Yeah, Big John and Little John. What was up with that?
I don't know.
Did we run out of names and we had to name them both John?
I guess, I don't know. And he kills them really brutally too. Like one of them, he pokes
Dude,
his
he
eyes
does. Because he stabs the one guy in the armpit and then gouges his eyes out, and there's so much blood in that scene.
And then there were like people joking online that Michael Myers was homophobic because he killed him. I mean, because clearly Michael Myers only kills gay people in these movies. It's obvious. I mean, some people might have been taking that seriously. But I don't know. It's just like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not offended by it anyway. I would know.
Can we talk
But I
about
mean, also,
one of
I mean, they're living in Michael's old house. I mean, he's gonna kill whoever is in his old house.
True. I'm a little sad he didn't bring back his mother's grave a second time.
Right.
That would have been funny if just in this one too, he runs back to the graveyard to grab the tombstone and runs back.
Yeah, I guess they just wanted to put that back in the cemetery, huh? But yeah. But I mean, he'll just kill anybody that's living in his house. I mean, he's territorial, you know?
He killed the dog in the first movie that was there.
Yeah, he kills a lot of dogs in these. I'll get to that later.
Can we talk about one of my favorite kills in the movie?
Oh God, which one? Wait, which one? There's so many.
So this isn't my favorite one. I'm gonna get to those later on.
One of my
but
favorites
there's this
was
one where these
he like kills this dude and then he just stabs a bunch of knives into him, even though he's already dead.
That one's pretty good. But there's this woman in a nurse costume that's like coming at him with a gun. And so he kicks the door open so that it hits her hand, turns the gun around and causes her to shoot herself.
Oh, that one! Oh my God, that one made me laugh. Oh,
I watched that like 3 times because it's so fast, but it's so funny.
oh my God, yeah, like. Because she like tries shooting him and they just the car door like knocks the gun back and it shoots her in the head like that was kind of it was stuff like that really was just like, okay, are they even taking this seriously anymore at this point? Because like what other kills were I'm trying to remember what the other kills were.
There was the other one, another character that had a gun pointed it at him, said, "This is for Dr. Loomis," and then the gun was empty, so she just died right away, pretty much.
Yeah. I like the, okay, another thing we should probably talk about this movie is that basically, this is the movie where basically the whole town of Haddonfield becomes an
decides
angry
they've
mob.
had enough. It is so funny.
They turn into an angry mob and try hunting down Michael Myers. It's just so funny.
And there's one guy that's talking about it. He said, "We're going to use his own strategy against him. If you see him, run. Make sure he doesn't see where you go. Hide. Go in a different direction than he suspects." Like, why are we trying to out Michael Myers?
I don't know. It was weird because they were like... It felt like they were kind of trying to do this whole message of like, oh, like Michael Myers turned the whole town of Haddonfield into monsters, but it just doesn't really.
No. Because you know what? Yeah, if this guy keeps coming back and kills all of your children, why not go find him and kill him?
I know, yeah, it's so stupid. And then we get to the point where they like surround Michael Myers and they start shooting and hitting him, like just the whole entire.
That's my favorite scene in the movie. Hold on, we need to back up a little bit for that. We need to back up because the setup is great too.
Okay.
So Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter, basically knocks Michael down at one point onto the stairs, takes his mask and runs out into the street, and she's like, come get me, Michael. I have your mask. And so he follows her to like this side street that has like all these members of the mob just hanging out there. And his mask is just laying in the middle of the road. And this one cop drops this line. He says, "Hey Michael, it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare."
I think it was Lee
And suddenly,
Brackett. I think it was Lee
yeah,
Brackett that said,
yeah,
and he's the guy that said that in the original movie. So anyway,
yeah. And so then it's this really dramatic slow-mo shot of Michael picking up his mask, putting it on, and then just getting the absolute shit beat out of him by the whole town.
yeah, the entire town just gangs up on my.
They're like beating him, they're shooting him, they're like stepping on like the fingers that just got blown off earlier that night. He's getting stabbed.
You can say what you want about Michael Myers, but he does bring people together for a common cause, you know?
And the best part about this is it doesn't kill him. He just gets up and kills everyone in the crowd right after.
Yeah, they like try stabbing Michael, but then he just says, "I am Halloween Kills, motherfucker," and kills everyone.
Pretty much.
He doesn't actually say that for anyone who's actually watched it. But yeah, he just kills a bunch of people, including Lee Brackett and Tommy Doyle. He like
just everyone.
Tommy has this like baseball bat that he's been saving to use against Michael Myers, and then Michael Myers just kills him with his own bat. It's again, I mean, I don't think any of this was supposed to be funny, but for some reason, it cracked me up. It was just so absurd.
And because the movie treats it as if it's like the most serious thing ever. It's all played completely straight. The music is dramatic,
which is probably why it was so dramatic. Because
it's just this super detailed, super passionate, just compilation of Michael Myers getting his teeth knocked in.
It's why this was funny, but like his Halloween Resurrection, for example, wasn't. Because Halloween Resurrection, it kind of felt like they were trying too hard to be like goofy, but then it just came across as like really cringy and just terrible. I mean, that's the one with Busta Rhymes having like a kung fu fight with Michael Myers. Like what? Oh my god.
I've never seen this and I don't know if I want to.
Don't. I hate that movie so much. If any movie could have killed the Halloween series, it would have been that one. Apparently even that didn't kill it. But whereas this one, it's like that you could tell that they were trying to be like really dramatic, but it's so stupid. Like,
yeah.
Again, it's just you know what's gonna happen. They're gonna try to kill Michael Myers, and it's not gonna work. You know, the guy's a fucking freight train, not a human being. Or maybe, okay, freight train may not be the right term, because trains are fast, and Michael Myers doesn't walk very fast.
He really does just walk everywhere in this movie, no sense of urgency.
Yeah. No matter how fast you run, Michael Myers walks faster. They like even try killing him with like a pitchfork at one point, and that doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, he just gets stabbed in the back.
We do see his face for a little bit again, because like Laurie's daughter.
Yeah, because they take off his mask.
Laurie's daughter like tries taking his mask to lure him out, so we see his face for a little bit.
So Michael Myers is just 100% like supernatural at this point, right?
Again, yeah, he has
just
reached
with everything that happens to him in this movie alone.
He's basically at like whatever power level Jason was at in Friday the 13th Part 7, you know. And like I do like how his mask is like kind of burnt up from the previous movie to add a little bit of continuity, you know.
I actually forget what his mask looks like in Ends.
They got the mask right in this one at least. I don't remember what his mask looks like in Ends, but
it's kind of like it's kind of just like a rotting version of the Kills mask, which makes sense.
I mean, we'll get to it eventually. But I do like, getting back to, being a bit serious. So I do like that this one, because the 2018 one, it focused on how Michael's rampage affected Lori and her family, basically. This one focuses on how the residents of Haddonfield were affected by the murders, and like how the other survivors were affected by it, and the people that live there now. And I'm like, it's a interesting concept for a sequel. They maybe handled it in too melodramatic of a way, but I can see some of the thought process behind this one at least. So there's that.
And you kind of mentioned it has the feeling that they're trying to be like, Michael has made this town evil, like it's seeped into everyone, which they kind of try to do, which doesn't quite work, but I guess I'll save that for the cons. But it's an interesting idea, at least.
Yeah, I don't really remember them trying to do that in any of the other ones. I guess the only other example I can think of is in I think it was Halloween 4 where Loomis gets he kind of gets an angry mob riled up to go hunt after Michael Myers, or maybe that was the 5th one. It was either the 4th or 5th one. That's the only other thing.
I think it was the 4th, because the 5th one is him waking up after getting dumped in a sewage ditch or something.
I think it was 4, but yeah, it was
yeah.
That's the only other thing that kind of reminds me of this one from any of the other movies. And it's like Tommy Doyle, he's just had this baseball bat prepared for when Michael comes back, which is pretty funny. And there was one part, the part where it was before he kicks the door, the car door, and that knocks the gun back.
Yeah.
I liked the part where he's climbing on top of the car trying to get in the windows. It's just
and he throws the kid's head at the windscreen, and so the person shoots the kid's already decapitated head.
They made the kills in this one just so over the top, but which
The beginning of that scene's pretty good too, because it's these kids just swinging on a swing. And then their mom comes out and she's like, "It's not safe in here, boys. You have to go inside." And then they're like, "There's a dude in a white mask just standing down there staring at us." And then you just see Michael just watching them. It's such a funny reveal.
I know, yeah.
There's so much of this that feels like a Halloween parody, and it only becomes more so in the next one.
Yeah. And kind of think of it, this is kind of like what the tone of Exorcist Believer was like, where it really did just feel it felt like an Exorcist parody with that one. Which is maybe what, maybe that's why that movie wasn't as... Because people were really hating on that one. But I was like, what did you expect from the guys that did Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends? I mean, I guess they got really lucky with that 2018 one, and then they just ended up making this shit. One detail I liked it does kind of feel like we're just shitting on this thing, even though anyway. I like the opening credits. It has a bunch of pumpkins, and some of them have blood, and some are burning up.
Oh yeah,
there were so many flames on those jack-o'-lanterns. It was ridiculous. Michael drives a car in this one again.
He just knows how to drive. We just have to accept that by
And I
now.
like how like what they're like waiting for him when he's in the car too. Like the angry mob's waiting for him because they know he's driving the car. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall calls Michael Myers an apex predator at one point. Which, yeah, if you're gonna call any slasher villain an apex predator, yeah, that makes sense for Michael Myers. And again, Jason and some of the later Friday the 13th movies, like especially part 7, he is a fucking beast in that one. Or part 6. Jeez.
Having watched part 7 earlier this year, he is insane in part 7.
And his design in that one is just so over the top because you could see like his bones coming out of the
he's
back.
it's like part 6 you can see him rotting, but in this one he was like stripped of flesh, half of his mask is missing, and he's like snarling at you the whole time.
I know, yeah, it's so absurd. Tommy wants to protect Laurie Strode because Laurie protected him 40 years ago, so you know. That's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. At one point, Will Patton reveals that he stopped Dr. Loomis from killing Michael Myers.
Which, that was a mistake. But also, he probably would have lived through it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked anyway. I mean, he's Michael Myers, for fuck's sake. Oh my god, the ending, I was actually surprised by the ending, because he just kind of comes out of nowhere and kills Laurie's daughter.
Yeah, so that is like the big difference between the extended edition and the theatrical version. So he goes up, he kills Laurie's daughter, but then Laurie tries calling her daughter, and then Michael picks up the phone.
Okay.
She hears Michael breathing on the other end and understands that it means Michael killed her. So then she picks up a knife and says that she's coming after her, which almost makes it seem like the next movie was going to take place on that same night, with now Laurie trying to hunt down Michael.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember watching that and just be like, Jesus Christ. He just snuck into the house and just killed her randomly.
Yeah.
Like, he is vicious in this one, like, more so than in any of the other ones. It's ridiculous.
When he kills Allison's boyfriend, Cameron, it is, like, it is gruesome.
There's a lot of just gruesome kills in this one.
Because he, like, stabs Cameron once, and then just starts, like, breaking him, like, over the banister, keeps hitting his head, like, breaking all of his bones.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that was, wow.
Yeah, it was brutal.
They really made use of the R rating in this one. I'm gonna be honest, I've run out of pros.
We can get into the
Unless I was curious though, like what they changed with the extended version though.
It really wasn't a lot. They changed the ending pretty much.
But like it's 4 minutes longer, so they would have had to add more.
They might have extended some of the kills, like maybe the scenes are a little longer.
Maybe the extended cut is more brutal. Michael hits the fireman's face with a pickaxe one more time in between. Blood gushes from the wound. I found a website that like explains every single change. Here, let me.
Oh, is it the movie censorship site?
Yes, it's very detailed.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Oh, there's an additional scene in the hospital. Okay. There's just some additional scenes that are like 30 seconds longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow, it's really specific, the scene additions.
Let's see. Yeah, some of the kills are slightly longer. Some of it might have been censorship, actually. But yeah. But then again, the kills are already so brutal. I mean, how the fuck can they get worse? He just kills so. He kills almost the entire town in this movie. It's
It's insane.
This is the point where Michael Myers like almost commits genocide. I mean,
I don't know whether or not to count this as a con for this movie or for Halloween Ends, but it doesn't really lead into the next one at all. Like, the third one feels like an afterthought.
yeah, it's weird.
Which is weird because, at least in the extended cut, they set up another movie that they just don't follow up on.
We'll probably talk about this more with Ends, but you saw Ends without having seen this movie.
Yes.
So, and I saw Ends having seen this movie, and we were both confused by Ends.
It's just a baffling movie.
Because that movie makes no sense whether you have kills in there or not. It's like, what? Jeez. Like, it might have explained a few things, but not really. We'll get to that. I think a big part of the reason why this one doesn't really work as well as the 2018 one, the acting is not as good in this one.
No.
Especially, like, the cops at the beginning, they felt off.
Yeah.
Some of the people living in Haddonfield, they just felt off. I don't know how to explain it. Like, maybe the writing just wasn't as good.
It's probably a combination of those things.
Some of the dialogue was just okay. What?
And then there's this plot point
Maybe it was just the cops are dumb. I don't know. I mean, the cops usually are pretty dumb in these kinds of movies. And some of the acting, there was some acting that was just so over the top. So over dramatic. I was laughing. And the characters, they don't feel like normal people. They felt like characters.
No, they're all, like, they're very one-dimensional. Their goal in life is to kill Michael Myers.
They're just they're so stereotypical, too. It's just like, okay. It's again a problem with you have just too many characters in this. And of course, they're going to feel a bit... You know, when you have like 20 characters in a movie, you can't flesh them all out.
Yeah.
Unless you're Michael Myers. Oh, wait, that's a different kind of fleshing out. Sorry, what were you saying?
So, as part of like the mob subplot in this movie, they try and do one thing to make it seem like the mob is evil. So, there's this other inmate that escaped alongside Michael Myers that they just assume is Michael. And so they all get up to try and kill him, and then they end up they force him to the top floor of the hospital, and then he jumps out the window and kills himself. And so they're trying to make the mob look evil, and then, like, Laurie and her family, they're like, no, it's not him. But then, like, nobody learns anything from it, and Laurie's family just joins the mob again, like, 5 minutes later. And so it feels like it just goes nowhere.
They they destroy a hospital to
yeah.
And when the guy jumps off okay, this was another one of the deaths in this that I couldn't help myself. I kind of laughed at this one. He like jumps off the building and just splats on the ground.
And you see like a massive pool of blood. He has like an arm that's like twisted around.
It's so gory. It's like you dropped a bunch of
comical. It's so over the top.
It's like you dropped a bunch of watermelons or something. It's so gory. It's one of the goriest deaths in the movie, and Michael wasn't even technically responsible for it. It's just, what? It was weird. This one also just felt kind of mean-spirited at some points.
Yeah, not as mean spirited as the next one, but definitely at some points.
It felt like there were parts of it that was like, okay, this is a little too excessive.
Like
Like the
there was a kid getting bullied, and it felt like a Stephen King bully scene.
it kind of did actually. You're right. It kind of did. You could have just had the kids from It in this or something.
I would love to see them take on Michael.
Michael Myers versus Pennywise. Jesus, that'd be a battle right there. That might be one of the few times where Pennywise, like, I feel like Pennywise would lose that actually. Because what is Michael Myers afraid of? I mean, what is he gonna use against him?
That's a good point.
Some other comments. A dog dies in this. Fuck off. I don't like dogs dying in movies. A big con with this. Laurie Strode is barely in it.
Yeah, and like every scene of hers is in the hospital, and for most of them, she's laying down in a bed.
She's just laying in a hospital the whole time. It's just like, okay. Which maybe that wouldn't be a problem, but instead the movie mostly just follows a bunch of characters we don't really care about.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay. And Michael Myers really does he just kills fucking everybody. It's ridiculous. Apparently nobody's safe. I like how Michael Myers, he's like the consistently good character in these, and he's like the only one that doesn't really have any personality besides kill, I guess.
Besides, yeah. And I kind of like how at one point in the movie, Laurie's like, "Oh, he's after me," and the cop's like, "No, he has no motive." Like they have to state that out loud.
He really does just have no motive. Because, yeah, we never learn, like, why he kills anyone in these. It's just like, well, okay, you do, technically, but it's in movies that we'd rather pretend didn't happen, you know?
Exactly.
Who knows? Maybe they will just bring back the Thorn cult at some point.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. If they do a fourth one, they're gonna have to bring back the cult. Because at this point, Michael Myers is just entirely supernatural.
Maybe there's this, like, group that, like, worships him as a god or something.
Exactly. That's going to be the plot of Halloween Lives.
They, like, bring him sacrifices and stuff.
They just rebuilt it. They Frankenstein's monster themselves a new Michael Myers that they channel his soul back into.
Oh boy.
And the movie ends with them decapitating Laurie Strode and them using her head for Michael's head, and then he wears the mask over it.
So what? Does Michael Myers, like, when he has Laurie Strode's head, does he still not talk? Or does he just
exactly?
Talk like
Yeah, no.
Strode?
It's just that they can. They just need Jamie Lee Curtis for one more movie so they can decapitate her, and then they can just use her likeness in the sequels.
So he just walks. Does he not wear the mask anymore? He just walks around looking like a Frankenstein monster.
Well, he'll wear the mask for the fifth movie for most of it, and then at the end it comes off, so it like scares her granddaughter.
Oh boy!
I need to start writing these. They're not gonna be good, but that's not the point.
I mentioned earlier if we ever do like a Halloween parody, maybe there's an idea to throw in there. Hell, we'll see. Do we have enough money to get Jamie Lee Curtis to be? Christ's sake.
We just need to buy enough Activia.
Activia. Is that how we get her in this movie? Is we're just like,
Exactly.
here's a bunch of yogurt. There you go. Also, this movie felt very, and then we get a scene of in structure.
Yeah, there was no flow. It was just, here's another scene in the hospital. Here's Michael Myers killing someone else. Here's the mob.
Here's the angry mob. Yeah, exactly. It really is just Michael Myers kills people, the townspeople get angry. It's like,
yeah. That's
I remember
all it
reading
is.
a review somewhere where somebody said this feels like it should have been the climax to the 2018 movie rather than its own movie.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it kind of does feel like that. And then they kind of just do the same thing at the end of Ends, where it's just like they all gang up on Michael, but
but even then, it's not okay. We'll talk about Ends, but it's complicated.
Was there anything else you want to add to this weird?
Not really. No, I think we can wrap this up.
Okay, overall thoughts.
Halloween Kills is a bad movie, but it is so fun. It is so over the top for the most of it that it's just, you can't take your eyes off of it. The kills are ridiculous. The main plot is ridiculous. The mob is ridiculous. It is so overly dramatic. And it's all topped off by John Carpenter's wonderful score.
Yeah. I think that's like the one thing that even people that don't like this movie, they're like, the music's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously this is not as good as the previous one. Parts of it were ridiculous and mystifying, but I had some fun with it. There's some good kills. Michael Myers is still threatening. And ridiculously strong. There's some bad acting and bad writing, but it's fun seeing the entire town of Haddonfield just ganging up on Michael Myers. That kind of just feels like a foregone conclusion at this point. It's nothing amazing, and it's a step down from the 2018 one, but, there were things I liked about it. I thought it was okay. It's, I mean, as far as Halloween sequels go, it's not that bad, right?
It's definitely not the worst one.
I mean, come on, like, it's way better than 6 or Resurrection.
Yeah, 6 and Resurrection exists, so it literally cannot be the worst.
That's another thing. I'm kind of just surprised at how much people hated this one and Ends, and I'm just like, they're like saying, "Oh, these are like the worst." I'm like,
it's like, no, they're not.
Have you seen some of the other sequels? I mean, gosh. This is like fucking Godfather Part 2 compared to Halloween 6. I mean, okay, maybe this isn't a ringing endorsement, but at the very least, we got some fun out of it, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's just so, like, they really did just go, I feel like with this one, maybe they did just go, okay, fuck it, let's just make some schlock. Why not?
It really feels like it.
And then the next one, they're just like, oh, wait, we have to do a sequel.
They just lose their minds.
The next one, they're like, oh, wait, we have to do a sequel to that? Okay, let's make it even weirder. Okay. Speaking of which, our next podcast is Halloween Ends. But
until then, roll the Andy Griffith.
Which, Halloween Ends, I'm like, okay, I remember that one being pretty stupid, but it'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
I might actually watch that one tomorrow, because tomorrow we're recording this on Halloween Eve, so I might actually watch Halloween Ends tomorrow. Yeah.
Good night, you stupid idiot. Good night, you miserable slob.